Welcome folks to another video to Master Spring Boot. In today's video, we are going to cover a lot of interesting topics, so stay tuned until the end of the video. So just a recap, in our last video, we have built a PostMapping API. So let's just quick recap. So we'll make our application up. So in our previous video, we have built a PostMapping where we are taking customer information in request body, and let's see. So this is our endpoint. This one we have set up in our last video, where we are sending information ID, first name, last name and email as a JSON in our body, and then considering that these responses are saved in database or Elasticsearch, we are receiving the response back with a 200 status. Now today we are going to cover other HTTP methods, put, patch and delete in today's video. To continue for put, to understand put mapping, we need to little bit fine tune our post mapping, because we are in every video you are going to learn something new. So in this video, what we are going to do is we are going to change a bit of our post mapping, or we can also leave this as it is. Okay, so what we are going to do is we just copy paste our earlier post mapping and we will make it to version 5, and then what we are going to do is we are going to change this add customer, and then what are we going to do, because what you need to understand is, if you have noticed right, that we are passing ID as well in our version 4. Okay, we are passing ID, first name, last name and email. So technically user only need to pass the ID, because ID has to be generated by the system. We only need to pass the information which user want to save in our database. So when you are signing into Gmail account, you are not entering any ID. ID is unique, right? So that's why we are not going to pass ID in our next post mapping. So what we are going to do is we are going to simply create our object, okay, and then we are going to create customer object, then what are we going to do is we are going to get set ID, which will be sort of, I will explain this when so we are going to get a random number for our ID, and then we are going to multiply it so that we get a and we are going to set our first name. So what we are going to set it for now, what we are going to do is we are going to, whatever we are going to receive it, we are just going to set it. Okay, we are going to set our last name, so whatever response we are getting, whatever response basically we are getting from the user, we are just returning it back to them. Okay, and we are going to also return an ID, and then final one is email. So what you are going to observe here is that, so that's all. You'll see, you understand the difference between these two. Okay, we learn something new, how we are getting the information, what information we are getting. Here whatever we are getting, we are just sending it back, okay, without doing anything. Here we are, whatever information we are receiving from the user, we are setting it to our new object and we are returning it. Whereas you will see that we are not going to get the ID, we are not going to pass an ID. ID is going to come from the system, from your server. So let's just reboot our server and then come back and see whether it is working or not. So now come back to our Postman. So we'll do quick shortcut. We'll just right click here and just create duplicate it, and then we are going to see which version it was. It was version 5. Okay, we are going to make it version 5. We are going to make it version 5. Now what we are going to do is we are going to rename it. Whenever we are doing any work, we need to do it with full dedication so that things look beautiful. So now we are not going to pass an ID. So we will remove ID field in here. We will see what response we are going to get back from our server. Wow, quite cool, right? Now we are not passing an ID and we are getting an ID from our server. So basically server has stored this information in our system, and then server is returning that this is the ID which you have stored. You could consider it as that whenever you create an account, right? So you open a bank account. So bank gives you an account number to you. So that is your ID. You open an insurance policy, you get an insurance ID number. You go for a passport, you get a passport number. Same thing, when anyone registers into your application, they get an ID back. So that ID is system generated ID. Here if you see, we are passing the ID here, and whatever we are passing, we are just getting it back. Here we are passing the information, whereas ID is written from the system. These are just very high level, because when we are going to work with database, these things will really help you, and many people don't teach these things, these concepts. They just simply made a simple API and then they connect to database, and then that's all. But sometimes you don't even need to connect to a database, you need to call with another API. It's like you have multiple middle layers. So now coming back to our post mapping. So I hope this is clear. We have covered what post mapping is earlier, we have covered what request body is and what response entity is. So now what we are going to do is we are going to after post, what will come? After post, put will come. So now we are going to learn what put mapping is. So put mapping is nothing, is similar to post, it's just for more like an update thing. So we are going to add the put mapping, and this is also same. We can define our endpoint, which will be version 6.0. Always define version. This is really important. Many developers don't do it, and it looks quite rookie, whereas you should do it. And whenever you are writing this type of code, whatever level you are right, people will respect you, man. They will definitely respect you, because you know that what you're writing, you really know how you're writing your code. Means there's a difference between a good software engineer and a normal software engineer. So now, okay, we are not going to write it. We are going to little bit trick you. So everything is same, okay? Everything is same as of post mapping. There will be only one difference. So you need to understand when you're designing an API how you're going to, because many people are going to use your API. So now let us write update. Do we need to pass anything? Do we need to pass anything? Because we need to update, right? So you need to pass certain information. What do you need to update? So for you to update something, you need to tell, right, that I need to update this thing. So you need to pass your bank account information, right? So whenever you log in into your bank account, right, you log in with your ID, and then if you need to update your address at the back end, that ID has to go to bank, right? That this account ID has to be updated. This address for that account ID has to be updated, or for that particular passport number. So now what are we going to do is we are going to we can either use anything. We can use path variable or request parameter. We have covered path variable and request parameter in our earlier video. You can go and check that out. What is the difference between path variable and request parameter? So here what we are going to do is we are going to take a variable called ID, and then we are going to the information which we need to update. So we can take that information in our request body. Correct? You are correct. If you are following me, this will be good. Now what are we going to do? What are we going to do it? Because we don't have database, we need to mimic. That we have to mimic to update the information. Same thing, we will create our customer object. And then whatever information we are getting, we are just going to update it. Customer.set ID. What are we going to set? We are going to set the ID which we are returning, which we are getting, right? The ID which we are getting from the client, correct? Now whatever information we are getting from our client, we are going to just set it. Now, oops, customer dot get last name. And if you are new to my channel, I would request you to subscribe to my channel. This will motivate me to upload more content, and your support really matters. Every one of you who are watching this video, your support matters. Things matters. And if you learn something, definitely subscribe, click on the notification bell icon and share it to your friends, college groups, so that they learn or build some cooler project in your school or college. I would highly recommend you to do that. This all we have understood. Response entity, what response entity is, what are we going to pass. HTTP status dot. Okay. Get body. Now it is perfect. So let us save it and rerun it. As there is a shortcut, right? You need to install DevTools and just it will rerun it. But I prefer to restart my server on my own, not like every time I click on save and it will just restart it. So you can easily Google it. You will get a lot of content on how to set up DevTools. But if you want it, I will definitely tell you that how to set up that. For now we have completed, there is no error. Now let us see what have we done. Let's come back again. We are going to do shortcut, we are going to duplicate it. Now what are we going to do is we are going to rename it and we are going to pass version 6, here also version 6. Now we are going to change this post to put. Click on command save, control save. Okay, we are getting internal server error. This means we did something wrong. Start HackCS version 6 customers. Okay, server is started. PutMapping version 6 customers. It is wrong, I guess. Oh yeah, I think I know that this is wrong, but let us see what happens. Okay, see, now you get it right. What is the mistake? Even if I am not passing this, you realize, right, what is the mistake? Now because we are expecting path variable. So if you are expecting a path variable, what we need to do is we're going to pass our ID. Now let us rerun it. See, you got it right. What was the issue? We are passing path variable, but we are not passing actually. You understand, right? So you learn one scenario. If someone is defined path variable and you are not defining path variable in your endpoint, then it will throw you internal server error. Many people don't even know that they face this type of issue. When we are going to cover exception scenarios, in that video we are going to cover all this scenario exception handling. For now we are going to keep it simple. So now if you see what are we doing here, we are sending an ID and we are saying that, hey server, please update my information. But here is a catch, you can also see that I am going to only pass my email address. So what is going to happen? Let's see. Okay, it is coming null. Okay, now we are going to change that, become Elon Musk 2 or maybe become Bill Musk or Bill Gates or Musk. Okay, so what is happening? Suppose we change the ID. So whatever ID we are passing, for this ID update this information. For example, you need to update the email address, so they will update the email address. And now if you see what we have done here for ID is that when we are adding a new customer, we are, just imagine that we are creating a unique ID and that we are passing that unique ID, or for example we are passing that passport number or visa number to this particular, or resident number to this particular ID. Now for PutMapping, because we need to update the existing customer, we are going to use the existing ID which customer is sending to us and the information which customer is sending to us. Okay, based on that we are going to just update that information. In either way, in both the scenario, what is going to happen here, you need to understand one critical thing is there is something called idempotent method. So if I am calling a API multiple times and there is no change in the request, then there is no harm. If you see here that this 1 2 3, I will just shorten it is 1 2 3 4 ID, I will pass it. You see I am passing it, I am running this n number of times, there is no issue. You understand, right? That I am passing this ID and there is no issue. Multiple times I called, there is no change. Now as soon as I go to post, you just see this ID number. Even though like this we try to mimic that scenario so that you can understand that what is happening. See, whenever we are running this, my ID is changing. Just imagine that this post is creating a new record in our database or our Elasticsearch or our Kafka queue, anywhere you could say. So this is not an idempotent method, but this is an idempotent method, whereas there is no behavioral change or no state change while calling this API n number of 9. That is the definition, and this is quite crucial. People don't understand. People even don't. I've even like very reputed companies, developers, they also don't even follow this thing. Okay, many people don't know it. They just do it post, yeah, everything is post, yeah, like that. Okay, but they don't do it, and that's why their codes are not highly maintainable. I've seen very bad code, I've seen very good code, I've converted bad code to good code. So these things really matters, and when you are confident and when your, I would say, your architect will see the way you're writing, they will definitely give you respect. So you understand, right, what we have done so far. So subscribe to my channel if you are new to my channel. Now let's cover what is patch mapping. I know this video is getting longer. I would recommend you to I wanted to say one thing, right? If you can also switch the speed. YouTube provide that feature that you can speed up playback speed to 1.5x. It's really nice. I viewed that viewing my video in 1.5, right? It's a really nice experience. So I would also recommend that you should switch to 1.5x so that, and when you want to revise it, or if you are following it, you can also slow it down. If you're following with me, you can pause it also. But I would really recommend that if you're watching it for knowledge purpose, you can switch to 1.5x. It's really help for you to, because sometimes we are slow, sometimes we are fast. So it's not I would say, but it's preferable choice. Some people prefer slow, some people preferable fast, whereas sometimes accent is a problem because don't know who is viewing this video, so it's better that you should switch based on your preference. Now patch is similar to put, but in patch we are going to only update one information. So let us see with an example. So now what are we going to do is in patch mapping, so customers patch customers, these all are same. You need Parker, we can also copy paste it, but better to write it. Now same thing, we are going to create our object. Yeah, I'm fan of Elon Musk, so if you're saying that everywhere Elon Musk is coming, you'll see a lot of him. Why we are doing this, you'll understand. Right now, we haven't done this, we haven't hard-coded any value so far, and for this one we are doing it. It's just to mimic that, you will get it. Just be here with me. Return is same. Okay, so now let us just restart our server and then see what we did for patch mapping. Just to duplicate it, just close it for better view. Version 7. This also become version 7. We are passing our ID, our body is same. Now just remove these two. Now what are we going to do is, let us see. Everything is correct. Yes, everything is correct. Now let us see. So what put is trying to say to us is that for this ID I only want to update my email address. So we'll change it to Bill. So our server has to tell to me that okay, we are going to do that. Imagining, okay, just to imagine. Okay, I think this has to be patch. Yeah, okay, now it is correct. Imagine that in our earlier request, this information is stored in database. Now, for this one, for this ID, in our patch, we are sending this one, and we are only wanted to update this email because right now in our application we don't have any storage. So that's why we cannot really doing it, but this is how we are going to we are solving a problem without using the resources. So if you see, right, see, it is working in here, right? I think earlier I did also. Here when we are removing this thing, if you see, values are coming null. So something is wrong, right? That's all. That's what we are learning something. Now in patch mapping, we are passing email, other information is coming from database. Technically this information we are retrieving it. Here for example, this is coming from database, or we can also read this value from property file, but we'll do that in later video, how to read value from property file or from YAML file. For now, you are understanding the concept of this HTTP methods. It's really important for you to understand. That's why I'm taking more time to explain with a use case so that you'll never forget it and you build a better APIs. So now if you see, whenever I'm calling it, it will update that information. So I will say bill. So this is the use case of patch. People don't use it, people don't know it. That's why they always build post. That's it. So now we will cover our last mapping of this video, which is delete mapping. This is quite simple. There is no rocket science in it, but let us do it. But later, you understand one more thing, right? The structure of our endpoint, how beautiful it is. This is how it has to be. It is quite consistent. It is highly acceptable. There is one thing which we haven't done it for our delete mapping, which we need to do it, I guess, because in our delete mapping, for now, what we are going to do is we are going to make it simple one. Okay, because this video is getting longer and I don't want to make it further longer. So let us quickly yeah, we are going to just because this I need to show you one more thing, but I think I will for now. I'm just for now. I'm going to just type it like this. Okay, return record deleted. We can, yeah, I think, yeah, we will just return it. So what are we going? What we are doing? I think let me see whether I can. I think I no. We'll do that in later because that it will. I need to explain one more concept in here that is also a cool concept which will take more time. So just for now, just consider it that we are passing this ID and then whenever we run this request, right, it will delete that record. That's it. Very simple. So in my next video, there is one really cool concept I wanted to show you because you have seen that here we are already using response entity and we are always sending our customer information. So in this one, I wanted to change a bit. Anyhow, we are not using response entity in this one. We are only using a normal string one. But in our next video, means anyhow, this complete playlist or this complete course, you are going to learn a lot of things. So yeah. So now let us test it. Let us do another one more API, which is delete. You see, it's looking quite nice, right? That we are come this far in our journey. I want you to subscribe to my channel and you like this video. Definitely, this is going to help you in long term. So in delete, we don't need to pass anything. Oh, why we don't need to pass? We need to pass it because we need to delete it, right? We also don't need to pass. I mean, there are multiple ways of doing it. Means either pass an ID, nobody, or you need to have some, like if only the information present, then only delete it because it can have multiple records, something like that. There are a lot of variation over it, so there is no debate on that thing. But yeah, let's see. Now let us run it. Okay, so it is quite simple. Record deleted, and it is giving me 200, and record is deleted. This is very simple one. You can run it multiple times. There is no issue with that. Okay. So now if you see that we have covered, we are running a lot of things: get, post, put, patch. I have seen many people don't even teach. They only did get, post. That's it. Everything done. Or maybe delete, put, patch, head, and options. No one even teach these things or will even explain it. You usually don't use these things, but when you're really working in a big organization and when you're really building a real software, real application, then you are going to use all these features. So that's all, folks. For now, subscribe to my channel, like my video, click on notification bell for upcoming videos. Thank you.